Take me to him.
You know, they just...
You, and you with me.
NYC is coalesced to provide an
Ma allora non lo vuoi capire. Just run away. You think you're... No. Killing me will make... You know, to the vengeance.
new modern NYC.
No life. It's all you have.
Back!
Reflections of the soul, of reflective contemplation. You
Have you seen the menu here? Walk away.
Hey guys, today we're diving headfirst back into the elegantly violent world of Baba Yaga himself. John Wick, with a recap of Chapter 2. This film picks up right where the first one left off, with John in desperate need of his stolen 1969 Mustang, which, let's be honest, is practically another character in this franchise. We open with John literally crashing a car through a garage door, because who needs a key when you have a V8 and a Vendetta? He's there to retrieve his prized possession from Abram Tarasov, Ayashev's uncle, who probably thought, hey, a dead legend won't mind if I borrow his car. Big mistake. John proceeds to unleash a symphony of destruction, turning car repair tools into instruments of pain and proving that he can probably kill you with a wrench, a car battery, or even a casual glance. The whole sequence is a delightful ballet of vehicular mayhem and close-quarters combat. If you like this sneak peek, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and let me know you want more.
If nothing else.
After a rather spirited negotiation over his car, which mostly involved John using said car as a battering ram and a few unfortunate souls as impromptu speed bumps, he finally gets his baby back. Seriously, the car takes more abuse than some of the henchmen. John takes the Mustang to Aurelio, the chop shop owner, who, bless his heart, doesn't even bat an eye at the sheer volume of bullet holes and smashed glass. Aurelio just sighs, probably thinking, Tuesday, John returns home, battered but with his car, and for a moment, it looks like he might actually get to retire. Again, he goes down to his basement, chiseling away at the concrete to bury his weapon's cache. The metallic clang of the chisel against the stone echoes the finality he hopes for, but we all know how well retirement works out for this guy. His loyal new dog, a pit bull he rescued at the end of the first film, watches patiently. It's a quiet, reflective moment, underscoring his desperate wish for peace. It's almost sweet if you ignore the fact that he's literally burying instruments of death just when John thinks he can finally relax with his dog and his meticulously repaired muscle car. Because nothing ever goes smoothly for him, right? Enter Santino D'Antonio, a stylish, smirking member of the high table. Santino arrives at John's house, looking far too comfortable in his living room, demanding John fulfill a marker. For those unfamiliar with the Wickverse, a marker is essentially a blood oath, a promise made in the underworld, represented by a very cool, very serious coin-like medallion. John, in his past life, sought Santino's aid for an impossible task to get out of the assassin game, and now Santino is calling in the favor. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with one of John's pencils. The very presence of Santino, calmly explaining the rules, the sacredness of the marker, tells us John's tranquil retirement is officially DOA. You can practically hear the collective groan from the audience. Not again. The quiet hum of the air conditioning feels deafening against Santino's polite but firm demands. John, understandably, is not thrilled. He's tried the retirement thing. It didn't stick, and he's not exactly keen on diving back into a life that led to the death of his wife. He refuses Santino's demand, slamming the marker back onto the table. This, as you might guess, is a big no-no in the high table's rulebook. Santino, showing off his impeccable villain etiquette, decides that if John won't fulfill his oath, he'll simply take away everything John holds dear. So he blows up John's house. Not just a little fire, but a glorious, cinematic explosion that sends John running through his burning home to rescue his bewildered dog. The crackling flames and the shattering glass are a stark reminder that in this world, no is merely a suggestion, and breaking an oath has immediate, dramatic consequences. It's a spectacular visual, proving once again that John can't have nice things, or even a functional roof over his head. The heat from the inferno is almost palpable through the screen. A fiery welcome back party for Mr. Wick, with his house now a pile of very expensive ash and memories. John does what any self-respecting super assassin does. He goes to the Continental Hotel for a chat with Winston. Winston, ever the calm, collected arbiter of the underworld, delivers some tough love. He explains, with that perfectly measured cadence, that the marker is sacred. It's an inviolable contract, and if John doesn't honor it, he'll be declared excommunicado, a fate worse than death in their secret society. Basically, everyone will try to kill him, and the Continental's services will be unavailable. Imagine a world where your credit cards are declined everywhere and everyone wants your head on a platter. Winston makes it clear there are rules, John, and you're bound by them. The weight of his words hangs heavy, the clinking of ice in Winston's drink the only other sound. It's a reminder that even the boogeyman has a boss, or rather, a very strict HR department. After Winston's stern lecture, which probably felt like getting a talking to from your dad after you accidentally blew up the garage, John begrudgingly agrees to honor the marker. He confronts Santino and, with a weary sigh, accepts the assignment. Santino wants John to assassinate his sister, Gianna D'Antonio, who is vying for a seat at the high table. You know, just standard sibling rivalry stuff. But with more bullets and less passive aggression, John's face is a picture of grim determination. The kind that says, I'm doing this, but I'm going to be very, very cranky about it. The metallic click of the marker being returned to Santino feels like a heavy chain being reforged around John's neck. He's back in the game, whether he likes it or not. And his path is now set for the eternal city, Rome, the city of love. Apparently also the city of highly specialized contract killings. John jets off to Rome. which, let's be honest, is a pretty stylish place to do some violent business. He checks into the Roman branch of the Continental, where the atmosphere is just as impeccably polite and deadly as its New York counterpart. First order of business, new threads. He visits the sommelier, not for wine, but for weapons. This dude is like the Q of the assassin world, offering an exquisite menu of firearms, each described with the reverence of a fine vintage. Glock 34 Custom, AR-15 Match Grade. John selects his tasting menu of destruction, a carefully curated arsenal for the job. Then it's off to the tailor, where he's fitted for a custom suit, tactical and bulletproof, naturally. The whirring of the sewing machine is juxtaposed with the grim reality of what these clothes are designed for. It's a beautifully absurd sequence, highlighting the unique blend of high-end luxury and brutal practicality that defines this universe. Even when you're killing people, you gotta look good doing it, right? John, now looking impossibly sharp in his new tactical suit, infiltrates Gianna D'Antonio's elaborate party. This isn't just any party. It's a decadent, sprawling affair held within the stunning, ancient ruins of Roman baths. Imagine a high-fashion rave mixed with a museum exhibit, but with a lingering sense of impending doom. John navigates the crowds, his eyes scanning for Gianna amidst the swirling lights and pulsing music. The low thrum of the bass and the murmur of countless conversations create a sensory overload. Yet John remains a focused predator. He's completely out of place but moves with an almost ghostly presence. The vibrant colors of the partygoer's attire contrast sharply with John's dark suit, making him a walking shadow with a very specific, lethal agenda. It's a testament to his skill that he can blend in. Despite being a human walking advertisement for "Don't mess with me," John finally cornered Gianna in her private chambers, a sterile, almost ceremonial space within the opulent bathhouse. Gianna, surprisingly calm, understands her fate. She looks at John not with fear, but with a resigned defiance. She tells him she'll die on her own terms, in a shockingly elegant and brutal move. She steps into a bathtub and slits her wrists, essentially robbing John of the full satisfaction, or perhaps the full burden of the kill. The splash of water, the quiet gasp, and the trickle of blood are incredibly visceral. But John, bound by the marker, can't leave it at that. He must personally deliver the fatal blow to complete the contract, so he shoots her in the head. The muffled thud of the suppressed gunshot is disturbingly quiet. Just as John completes his grim task, Gianna's bodyguard, Castian, arrives, witnessing John standing over his employer's body. The air crackles with unspoken accusation and simmering vengeance. Well, that complicates things, doesn't it? With Gianna dead, John's primary problem morphs into Castian, her former bodyguard and now a man burning with righteous fury. The chase begins, a breathless sprint through the ancient, claustrophobic Roman catacombs. The echoing footsteps and the frantic scrapes of their shoes against stone amplify the tension. This isn't just a chase. It's a series of brutal, close-quarters fights, primarily with knives. The metallic glint of blades, the grunt of effort, the sharp rip of fabric, every impact feels visceral. They tumble, punch, stab, and shoot their way through the labyrinthine tunnels, eventually spilling out onto the bustling streets of Rome. Imagine trying to kill someone while dodging Vespis and selfie sticks. The sheer chaos of the environment provides ample cover and obstacles, turning the urban landscape into a sprawling combat arena. Their fight is a dance of death, each movement precise, each blow in to incapacitate or kill. It's truly a masterclass in hand-to-hand combat choreography, making you wince with every painful connection. Just as John and Castian are about to finish each other off in a spectacularly painful fashion, they burst into the Rome Continental. And what happens when you step onto consecrated ground? All business stops. The metallic clack of their weapons being holstered is a jarring sound after the previous chaos. Winston's Roman counterpart, Julius, calmly reminds them of the rules. No business. John and Castian, both visibly battered and seething with hatred, are forced to call a temporary truce. The scene crackles with unspoken threats and simmering rage, their eyes locking in a silent promise of future violence. They sit at the bar, getting patched up, sharing a drink, and hostile glares, like to angry cats forced to share a litter box. It's a beautiful illustration of the high table's power, capable of stopping to highly trained killers mid-stride with a mere word. The clinking of glasses and the hushed conversation of other patrons create a bizarrely serene backdrop to their intense animosity. John, having fulfilled his obligation, albeit with an extra helping of personal vengeance now brewing, heads back to New York. He probably just wants a quiet night, maybe some kibble for his dog. But Santino, being the absolute worst, has already put a $7 million bounty on John's head, framing him for Gianna's death. This means every assassin in New York is suddenly very interested in John Wick's continued existence, or lack thereof. The city, once a familiar hunting ground, now feels like a viper's nest. The sheer number of potential threats is overwhelming. Every face in the crowd, every taxi driver, every street vendor could be an assassin. The subtle visual cues, like people suddenly looking at their phones with a notification sound, hint at the omnipresent danger. It's like a deadly scavenger hunt, and John is the prize. The constant feeling of being watched, of impending doom, is truly palpable. No rest for the wicked. Literally, the bounty goes live. And John's life immediately becomes a live-action video game where everyone is trying to level him up. To dead, he descends into the New York subway, a place already teeming with its own unique brand of chaos, now supercharged with contract killers. The cramped spaces of the subway cars become lethal arenas. The whoosh of passing trains, the screech of metal on metal, and the muffled announcements provide a frantic soundtrack to the sudden bursts of violence. John, with his unique blend of gunfu and sheer brute force, takes on multiple assailants, often using the environment to his advantage. A particularly memorable moment involves a silent, deadly duel with Castian, who, despite their truce in Rome, is still very much out for blood. They exchange fire and blows amidst a sea of bewildered commuters, their suppressed firearms barely audible above the train's roar. It's a testament to John's discretion that most bystanders remain oblivious to the ballet of death unfolding around them. Because, it's New York. People are used to weird stuff. After navigating the deadly labyrinth of the subway, John finds himself in a modern art exhibit. And because this is a John Wick movie, it's not just any exhibit. It's a room full of mirrors and reflective surfaces, which, let's be honest, is practically begging for a gunfight. Sure enough, John is ambushed. The ensuing shootout is a visually stunning, disorienting masterpiece. Reflections multiply, distort, and confuse, making it incredibly difficult to distinguish friend from foe, or even real targets from their mirror images. The sharp crack of gunfire echoes endlessly, shattering glass and splintering frames. John has to use every ounce of his skill, his tactical mind working overtime to process the distorted reality. It's a clever way to elevate the typical shootout, turning it into a puzzle of perception. You find yourself squinting at the screen, trying to figure out which John is the real John, and which assassin is about to get a bullet through their reflection. It's a stylish and genuinely thrilling sequence. Amidst the shattered glass and endless reflections, John comes face to face with Ars, Santino's mute head of security, and her team of death assassins. Ars, played with chilling composure by Ruby Rose, communicates entirely through sign language, which gives her crew a unique, almost supernatural coordination. The scene's sound design becomes incredibly impactful here, as the lack of spoken dialogue from her team highlights the raw sounds of combat, the metallic thud of punches, the sharp hiss of suppressed gunfire, the shattering glass. It's a brilliant touch, making them feel like an even more formidable, almost silent, force of nature. John's fight with Urs is a brutal dance, her speed and precision a match for his own. The silence of their communication makes her commands feel even more deadly, creating an eerie, unsettling atmosphere. It's a reminder that even in a world of explosions and machine guns, the quietest threats can be the most effective, with every assassin in New York breathing down his neck and his usual resources unavailable due to the bounty. John does what any sensible person would do. He goes underground. Literally, he seeks out the Bowery King, a fascinating character played by Lawrence Fishburne, who rules over a vast network of homeless people. These aren't just your average street dwellers. They're the eyes and ears of the underworld, gathering intelligence, running communications, and generally being the unsung heroes of information warfare. John descends into the Bowery King's subterranean lair, a gritty, makeshift kingdom beneath the city's surface. The metallic clanging and echoing voices of this hidden world create a stark contrast to the opulence of the Continental. John, looking utterly exhausted and covered in wounds, desperately needs assistance, and the Bowery King, with his distinct flair and dramatic delivery, is his only hope. It's a fantastic expansion of the Wickverse, showing us another layer of its intricate society, the Bowery King. After a delightfully theatrical monologue about kings, queens, and the price of a kingdom, agrees to help John, but his help isn't cheap, nor is it extensive. He offers John a favor, which translates to a custom pistol and 7 bullets. 7 bullets for a man with a $7 million bounty on his head? The sarcasm practically drips from the scene. It's a symbolic gesture, a minimalist arsenal for a maximalist problem, emphasizing John's desperate situation. He also provides John with crucial intelligence. Santino is hosting a party at an art exhibit. Because where else would a high-table villain hide in plain sight? The muffled sounds of the underground network, distant footsteps, hushed voices underscore the clandestine nature of this transaction. It's a moment of grim acceptance for John, realizing that even with help, he's still largely on his own. Armed with little more than a prayer and 7 very special rounds, armed with his 7 special bullets and a burning desire for revenge, John infiltrates the concert hall where Santino is holding court. This isn't just a concert. It's a high society affair, a public display of power for Santino, who clearly thinks he's untouchable. The grand architecture of the hall, the hushed elegance of the crowd, and the classical music being played create a stark, almost ironic backdrop for the violence that's about to unfold. John moves through the throng, his senses heightened, every shadow a potential threat, every face a possible target. The subtle swell of the orchestra music contrasts with the heavy thud of John's boots as he stalks his prey. He's a lone wolf in a field of sheep, but these sheep have bodyguards. He knows this is his chance to finish things, to finally get his revenge on the man who destroyed his home and forced him back into this life. The silence before the storm is deafening. John makes his move, and the concert hall transforms from a bastion of culture into a battleground. Santino, surrounded by his elite bodyguards, including ours and her silent squad, tries to make a run for it. The ensuing fight is a whirlwind of gunfire, close quarters combat, and surprisingly agile acrobatics from John. The sharp cracks of the guns and the grunts of the combatants are subtly mixed with the ongoing classical music, creating a bizarre, almost surreal juxtaposition of violence and art. John uses his 7 special bullets wisely, taking out key targets with surgical precision. Ours proves to be a particularly vexing opponent, her silent, lightning-fast attacks forcing John to adapt on the fly. The fight spills across the stage, into the wings, and through the audience areas, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The sounds of impact, the metallic clang of weapon on weapon, are visceral. John is a force of nature, unstoppable in his single-minded pursuit of Santino. With John breathing down his neck and his security detail rapidly diminishing, Santino, in a moment of panic and desperation, flees. And where does a high-table member run when they're in dire straits? To the Continental, of course, the one place where no business is conducted. He barges into the hotel lobby, clearly believing he's found his ultimate sanctuary. The quiet elegance of the Continental, with its hushed tones and impeccably dressed staff, is a stark contrast to the mayhem John just inflicted. Santino probably lets out a little sigh of relief, thinking he's safe, protected by the sacrosanct rules of the hotel. He saunters up to the bar, ordering a drink, a smug look on his face, believing he's finally outmaneuvered the boogeyman. The gentle clinking of ice and the murmur of polite conversation fill the air, a false sense of peace before the inevitable storm. Oh, Santino, you sweet summer child. You have no idea who you're dealing with. John, however, isn't about to let a little thing like sacred ground get in the way of his vengeance. He follows Santino into the Continental, his eyes burning with an intensity that promises swift, brutal retribution. Winston, seeing the inevitable, tries to intervene, warning John, "Do not kill him here," but John, fueled by grief, rage, and a profound sense of betrayal, has gone beyond reason. He ignores Winston, walks right up to Santino at the bar, and without a word, delivers a single, fatal gunshot to Santino's head. The muffled crack of the suppressed weapon in the hushed lobby is shockingly loud. The sight of Santino slumping to the ground, dead, in the hallowed halls of the Continental sends a collective gasp through the room. This wasn't just a kill, it was an act of defiance, a direct assault on the very fabric of the high table's rules. The metallic thud of Santino's body hitting the polished floor echoes the shattering of an ancient covenant. John Wick just declared war on everyone. After his utterly shocking act of defiance, John is summoned by Winston to the Continental rooftop. The cool night air and the glittering New York skyline provide a stark, beautiful backdrop to a very grim conversation. Winston, his composure finally ruffled, delivers a chilling condemnation. He explains the unprecedented gravity of John's actions, killing on Continental grounds. He's not just an assassin anymore, he's a pariah, a direct threat to the entire system. Winston reminds him of the sacred trust, the rules that govern their brutal world. The quiet hum of the city below contrasts with the weight of Winston's words, each one a hammer blow of consequence. John, for his part, remains stoic, his face a mask of grim acceptance. He knew the cost and he paid it anyway. It's a tense, emotionally charged exchange, cementing John's decision to burn his bridges. Consequences be damned. Winston, ever the pragmatist, declares John excommunicado. He places a $14 million bounty on John's head, a nice raise from the $7 million, proving that rule-breaking gets you a hefty bonus. Just not the good kind, the red excommunicado. Status flashing across screens, accompanied by a distinct electronic chime, signals John's immediate ostracization from the underworld. Winston, in a moment of what I can only describe as incredibly generous pity, grants John a 1-hour grace period before the bounty goes live and all Continental services are revoked. Imagine having to check out of your hotel while everyone around you is getting alerts to kill you. The gentle click of Winston's watch starting the countdown is a truly chilling sound, signaling the end of any remaining semblance of peace for John. It's like a deadly game show where John is both the contestant and the grand prize, and everyone else is playing for keeps. As the clock ticks down and the grace period expires, John Wick is officially the most wanted man in the world. He makes his way through the bustling streets of New York, desperately trying to get some distance, but it's futile everywhere. He goes, people receive the excommunicado alert on their phones. The subtle, yet terrifying, dinging of cell phones and the sudden, focused gazes of seemingly ordinary people turn the city into a vast hunting ground. A jogger, a street vendor, a tourist, every single person is now a potential assassin, alerted to the massive bounty on his head. The city, usually a place of anonymity, has become his prison. The sudden shift in mood, the metallic click of unseen weapons being readied, the focused intent in everyone's eyes. It's a masterclass in building tension without a single line of dialogue. John Wick isn't just facing an army, he's facing the entire underworld. The relentless footfalls of John and his dog against the pavement are the only constant in a world that has just turned upside down. When for him. In the final, haunting moments, John Wick, now utterly alone against the entire high table, runs through Central Park with his loyal dog. The city lights blur around him, but there's no safe haven, no escape. Every face is a threat, every shadow a potential killer. The soft pat of his dog's paws beside him as the only comforting sound in this terrifying new reality. He's a man, pushed beyond all limits, stripped of everything but his sheer will to survive. He disappears into the milling crowd, becoming just another face, but one burdened by the heaviest bounty in history. This isn't an ending, it's a desperate new beginning. A promise of relentless pursuit and unyielding defiance, the wind whispers. Through the trees, carrying the chilling message, John Wick is back, and this time, it's personal for everyone. The silence after the final shot rings with the stark reality of his impossible predicament, and so, our journey through John Wick, Chapter 2 concludes, leaving us on a precipice of uncertainty and a thrilling anticipation for what's next. John Wick's story is a powerful reminder that even when facing impossible odds, the spirit of defiance can burn brightest. His actions, born from grief and enforced vengeance, have irrevocably reshaped his world, and ours as viewers. It teaches us about the unbreakable nature of contracts, the high cost of principle, and the sheer, relentless power of one man's will. John Wick's journey is a testament to resilience, illustrating that sometimes, to find peace, you must first survive the storm, as he vanishes into the bustling crowd. We're left to ponder the depth of his resolve and the fiery future he now faces. It's an inspiring call to stand firm, even when the entire world is literally trying to take you down. Today we're diving back into the stylish, violent, and surprisingly emotional world of John Wick with Chapter 2 after the absolute mayhem of the first movie. Our favorite dog-loving assassin thought he was finally out. Spoiler alert, the High Table had other plans. We'll trace John's reluctant return to the underworld, the unbreakable rules he's forced to confront, and the truly epic gunfu that makes these films legendary. Get ready for more pencil-based violence, impeccably tailored suits, and a whole lot of headshots. This is a passion project for me, and a like or a subscribe is the best way to show your support. So if you're on board, join the crew. If not, thanks for watching anyway. The movie kicks off exactly where you'd expect. John Wick, still mourning, still missing his car. We find him smashing his vintage Mustang into Abram Tarasov's garage, demanding his vehicle back. The ensuing sequence is a masterclass in vehicular combat and pure, unadulterated chaos. Tires screech, metal grinds, and John, ever the efficient problem solver, uses his car as both a weapon and a shield. He's like a slightly angrier, more deadly version of your friend who's just discovered joyriding. The distinct crack of bone against metal, the shattering of glass, it's all here. He takes on a small army of goons, transitioning seamlessly from car crashes to close quarters combat. You can practically feel the thud of each punch and the whiplash from every throw. It's a violent ballet, culminating in a rather polite chat with Abram, who, surprisingly, allows John to leave with his car and even offers him a whiskey. A moment of unexpected civility in a sea of broken teeth, after getting his beloved car patched up by the ever-stoic Aurelio, who probably wonders why John's car is always in worse shape than a demolition-derby winner. John returns home for a moment of peace. It's fleeting, of course. His respite is shattered by the arrival of Santino D'Antonio, a slick, entitled member of the High Table, who's here to cash in a marker. For those unfamiliar, a marker is essentially a blood oath, an unbreakable promise forged in John's past. It's the kind of thing that makes you regret ever doing someone a solid, especially when that solid involves international assassin business. Santino, with a smugness that could curdle milk, presents the marker, a medallion etched with his thumbprint and John's. The cold metallic clink of it as he places it on the table feels heavy, almost ominous. John tries to refuse, citing his retirement, his newly found peace. But the rules of this world are absolute, and a marker cannot be ignored. The tension in the room is palpable, a silent battle of wills underscored by the tick-tock of a grandfather clock. John's weary sigh is almost audible. He's a man who just wants to walk his dog, but the universe keeps pulling him back into the dog-eat-dog world. Sometimes literally, John, being John, initially refuses Santino's request. He's done with the life, remember? He's even filled his house with holes from the previous film, a unique interior design choice. But Santino isn't one for no. As John sits in silent contemplation, the air hums with an unsettling stillness. Then, without warning, a rocket streaks through the night sky. The deafening roar of the explosion, the shattering sound of timbers, and the inferno that erupts, consuming John's home, is a blunt, uncompromising statement. Santino just blew up John Wick's house. The gall. It's like someone just burned down your carefully curated Sims build, but with more actual fire. The flames lick at the sky, casting an orange glow, a visual metaphor for John's shattered peace. He just stands there, watching his last tangible link to his former life and his wife turn to ash. The sizzling embers a testament to the high table's ruthless enforcement. The message is clear: accept the marker or lose everything. Oh, wait, he just lost everything again this time. It's a direct personal attack, and the fury simmering beneath John's calm exterior begins to bubble, with his house now a rather expensive bonfire. John seeks out Winston, the debonair and infinitely wise manager of the New York Continental Hotel. The hushed elegance of the hotel, with its ornate decor and well-dressed patrons, offers a stark contrast to the burning ruins John just left. Winston, ever the picture of calm authority, greets John with a knowing glance. The clink of ice in a crystal glass as Winston sips his drink is one of the few sounds in their hushed conversation. He patiently explains the absolute, non-negotiable sanctity of the marker. It's a blood oath, a binding contract that cannot be refused without severe, indeed, fatal consequences. It's the kind of contractual obligation that makes your average phone service agreement look like a friendly chat. The gravitas in Winston's voice emphasizes the weight of John's dilemma. To defy the marker is to defy the high table itself, to sever himself from the underworld's protection. John, with a weary but resolute nod, understands. There's no escaping fate when fate is dressed in a designer suit and carries a gilded coin. The silent pact made in the past has now roared back to life, demanding payment. And John knows the only way out is through. Resigned to his fate, John begins the ritualistic preparations for his forced return to the life. First stop, custom tailoring. He visits the bespoke tailor, who, it turns out, is also an armor specialist. The soft rustle of luxurious fabrics, the snip of scissors, and the careful measurements taken for his new bulletproof suit feel surprisingly mundane. Almost like a trip to Men's Warehouse, if Men's Warehouse also offered ballistic protection. Then it's off to the sommelier, a connoisseur of weapons, not wine. The gleam of steel, the smooth click of a magazine slotting into place, and the satisfying heft of various firearms are all meticulously presented. John, a man of precise tastes, selects a range of high-caliber weapons, each described with the reverence usually reserved for vintage Bordeaux. Tactical, accurate, versatile. These are the tasting notes of death. The dry-fire click of a pistol, the whirring sound of a custom knife being measured, it's all part of the deadly shopping spree. It's a grim procession, highlighting the meticulous professionalism of this hidden world. He's not just getting clothes. He's suiting up for war. And finally, his new canine companion, a silent witness to this entire grim affair, gets a fitting goodbye before John embarks on his journey to Rome. The silent thump of the dog's tail against the floor as John pats him goodbye is a small, poignant moment amidst the impending violence. John jets off to Rome, a city of ancient history and, apparently, a thriving underground assassin network. He checks into the Rome Continental, where he's greeted by Julius, the impeccably dressed and equally enigmatic manager. The echoing silence of the grand marble halls and the polite nods from the staff indicate that this is business as usual for the high table's hospitality. John's mission, courtesy of Santino, is to assassinate Santino's sister, Gianna D'Antonio, who is vying for a seat at the high table. It's a classic case of sibling rivalry, but with way more firepower and significantly higher stakes. He studies the blueprints of Gianna's lavish party, a geometric puzzle of death waiting to be solved. The whisper of pages turning, the soft hum of the hotel, all contribute to the quiet tension before the storm. John, with his signature stoicism, absorbs every detail, planning his approach with the precision of a master craftsman. He's not thrilled about this gig, but a marker is a marker, and the rules are very clear. It's almost comical how much effort goes into being a professional killer, from bespoke suits to detailed architectural schematics. Someone really needs to unionize this line of work. The benefits package must be insane, asterisk as John prepares for the hit. he encounters two significant figures. First, ours, Santino's chief bodyguard. Played by Ruby Rose, she's mute, communicates through sign language, and has an unnerving intensity that screams, "I will silently murder you." The clack of her combat boots on the stone floor is the only warning she gives. Her silent menace is a fresh challenge, and her presence is a constant, lingering threat. Then there's Cassian, Gianna D'Antonio's chief bodyguard, a highly skilled operative who has a history with John. Their initial meeting is surprisingly cordial, a brief moment of professional respect before the inevitable clash. The deep rumble of their low voices as they share pleasantries hints at the respect between equals. It's like two veteran chess players eyeing each other before the game begins. This world is small, and everyone knows everyone, leading to these darkly amusing encounters. John attempts to get close to Gianna, but Cassian's vigilance is a steel wall. The air is thick with anticipation, the subtle shift of weight, the slight tightening of a grip, unspoken signals of impending violence. The stage is set for a truly spectacular confrontation, where professional courtesy takes a backseat to professional duty. The moment of truth arrives at Gianna's opulent party, held in a stunning Roman villa that quickly descends into a chaotic underground rave. The thumping bass of the music, the flashing lights, and the press of bodies create a disorienting, immersive environment. John, ever the professional, navigates this sensory overload with lethal precision. He cornered Gianna in her dressing room, but she makes a final, defiant choice. Instead of letting John kill her, she slits her own wrists in a bathtub, the gurgle of water and the soft splash of blood a chilling sound. John, honoring the marker but also granting her a dignified end, delivers a single, fatal shot to the head, a dull thud of sound beneath the water. It's a moment of grim respect. However, the mission quickly unravels into a relentless pursuit through the catacombs, a labyrinthine network of ancient tombs now filled with Santino's heavily armed guards. The echoing gunfire, the clatter of spent casings on stone, and the rapid-fire thud of bodies hitting the ground become the soundtrack to John's desperate escape. He encounters Cassian, furious over Gianna's death, and their fight devolves into a brutal, balletic gunfight amidst the ancient bones and narrow passages. It's the kind of place where you'd expect a ghost story, not a tactical assassination. The scrapes of their bodies against the rough walls, the grunts of effort, and the sharp crack of headshots fill the air. John is a whirlwind of violence, dispatching foes with his signature blend of precision and ruthlessness. This isn't just a job, it's a fight for survival, made even more challenging by the sheer volume of expendable henchmen. Gianna's funeral is, predictably, not a quiet affair. Amidst the somber gathering, John is once again confronted by Cassian. The solemn silence of the funeral procession is abruptly broken by the sudden blur of their movements. Their grief-fueled showdown takes them through the crowded streets of Rome, each movement a deadly dance, punctuated by the whoosh of air as punches narrowly miss. The fight eventually spills into a busy subway station and onto a moving train, a wonderfully impractical location for a duel. Imagine trying to explain that dent in the train ceiling to the insurance company. They engage in a brutal knife fight, their blades flashing and clashing with terrifying speed. The metallic rasp of knives grating against each other, the grunts of pain, and the strained breaths are amplified by the confined space of the train car. It's an incredible display of close-quarters combat, a deadly ballet of thrusts and parries, each aiming for a fatal blow, all while surrounded by utterly oblivious commuters. Seriously, do these people not see the guy in the suit doing gymnastics with a blade? John eventually gains the upper hand, and in a moment of professional courtesy or perhaps just exhaustion, he leaves Cassian alive, but severely wounded, the knife still embedded. Cassian's agonized gasp as John leaves him is a stark reminder of the consequences. The message is clear: I don't enjoy this, but I will finish it. It's a testament to the respect between them, even amidst the bloodshed, and a rare display of mercy from our Baba Yaga, returning to the gritty streets of New York. John has a new target, Santino D'Antonio. To find him, he needs intel. Who better to ask than the Bowery King, a seemingly innocuous homeless man who, in reality, commands a vast network of informants and operatives hidden beneath the city. His lair, a surprisingly sophisticated underground command center, is a stark contrast to his public persona. The drip-drip of water, the hum of server racks, and the murmur of voices from countless monitors create an atmosphere of controlled chaos. The King, played with delightful theatricality by Lawrence Fishburne, offers a deal, information in exchange for payment, of course. Everything has a price in this world, even free-range intel. He's like a walking, talking version of Google, but for assassins. He eventually reveals Santino's location, an art exhibit. The rustle of his trench coat as he gestures, the low growl of his voice, all contribute to his enigmatic presence. It's a fascinating glimpse into the broader, almost feudal structure of this underworld. John, ever the pragmatist, accepts the terms. He knows that in this game, knowledge is just as lethal as any bullet. The distant rumble of a subway train further reinforces the clandestine nature of this meeting. It's a world where kings hide in the shadows, pulling strings, and providing just enough rope to hang your enemies, armed with the Bowery King's intel. John heads to the high society art exhibit where Santino is holding court. The reverberating chatter of the patrons, the soft classical music, and the elegant clinking of champagne glasses provide a sophisticated backdrop to the impending carnage. John, with his usual understated intensity, stalks his prey. When the confrontation inevitably erupts, the museum transforms into a deadly playground. The sharp crack of gunfire slices through the air, sending priceless sculptures crashing to the ground. You can almost hear the collective gasp of art critics everywhere. John is a force of nature, moving with brutal efficiency, dispatching Santino's numerous bodyguards. The whiz of bullets, the thud of bodies, and the shattering of display cases create a symphony of destruction. It's like a really aggressive scavenger hunt, but the prizes are headshots. The chase culminates in a dazzling, disorienting shootout in a hall of mirrors, a visual feast that makes it almost impossible to tell friend from foe. The shrieking ricochets of bullets off glass, the crunch of shattered reflections, and the constant threat of a mirror image leading to a real bullet make this sequence a standout. John, ever resourceful, adapts to the environment, using the reflections to his advantage. It's a brilliant piece of choreography that showcases John's tactical mind as much as his raw combat prowess. Santino, a cowardly villain if ever there was one, tries to escape, leaving his minions to deal with the inevitable. John's escape from the chaotic museum leads him into the grimy, bustling underworld of the New York subway system. Just when he thought he was in the clear, Ars and her team of silent, deadly assassins ambush him. The rumble of approaching trains, the squeal of brakes, and the blare of announcements become the backdrop for another intense confrontation. It's a beautifully choreographed sequence where every punch thrown and every shot fired is imbued with a sense of desperate urgency. The whoosh of a passing train provides cover, only to reveal more threats. Ars, with her menacing sign language and silent strikes, is a truly formidable opponent. The metallic clang of her knife against John's, the sharp intake of breath, and the strained grunts of effort create a visceral experience. John, wounded but relentless, fights through a seemingly endless wave of attackers. The thud of a body hitting a subway car, the gasp of a bystander, all are swept into the relentless rhythm of the fight. He's bleeding, tired, but his resolve remains unbroken. It's a testament to his sheer will, a man pushed beyond his limits, yet still finding the strength to push back. Even a brief, almost comedic moment where John has to reload while standing still, hoping no one notices, adds a touch of relatable vulnerability to the otherwise superhuman feats. The train doors hiss open and close, offering fleeting glimpses of the carnage within, only to shut again, preserving the illusion of normalcy for the unaware passengers. This is an assassin's world, and everyone else is just riding the rails. After a grueling chase through the city, Santino D'Antonio, desperate and out of options, seeks sanctuary. Where else but the one place immune to the high table's machinations, the Continental Hotel? He strides into the lobby with a look of smug relief, believing he is finally safe. The hushed elegance of the hotel, the polite greetings from the staff, and the soft jazz music create an atmosphere of impenetrable peace. Santino knows the rules. No blood can be spilled on continental grounds. It's the ultimate safe zone, a demilitarized zone for the world's deadliest. He gloats, a truly insufferable villain, convinced he's won. He orders a drink, his clinking glass an irritatingly confident sound. He's taunting John, daring him to break the most sacred rule of their world. But Santino clearly underestimates John's unwavering resolve. John arrives, a grim specter of vengeance, and watches Santino from across the opulent lobby. The slow, deliberate pace of John's footsteps, the heavy silence that falls over the room as he enters, all signal the impending cataclysm. The tension is almost unbearable, a silent countdown to an inevitable breach. Winston, always the calm arbiter, observes with a knowing, almost regretful expression. Everyone knows what's about to happen, but no one can intervene. It's a high-stakes standoff, where the rules of the game are about to be shattered, and the consequences will be seismic. The moment arrives. John Wick, pushed beyond his limits, stares at Santino D'Antonio, who lounges confidently in the Continental bar. The gentle murmur of conversation, the chink of glasses, all fade into a dull background hum for John. Santino, emboldened by the sanctuary rule, taunts John, believing himself invincible. But John isn't interested in rules anymore. He's interested in retribution. With a cold, resolute look, John raises his gun. The sharp, deafening crack of the suppressed pistol shot rips through the opulent lobby, silencing everything and everyone. Santino falls, dead instantly, a look of pure shock frozen on his face. It's a profound violation. The echo of the gunshot reverberates, not just through the hotel, but through the entire underworld. John Wick has broken the unbreakable rule, no blood on continental grounds. The stunned silence that follows is thicker than any fog. Winston, who had watched the confrontation with a weary expression, now approaches John, his voice grave. The deliberate click of John's gun as he holsters it is a final, defiant act. He knows the weight of his actions, the Pandora's box he just opened. This isn't just a kill. It's an act of war against the very foundation of their society. The consequences will be swift and brutal, and John knows it. He has chosen vengeance over everything, and the High Table will not forget, nor will they forgive. It's a moment that irrevocably changes the game for our Baba Yaga, making him a pariah in the only world he truly understands. The aftermath of John's transgression is swift and devastating. Winston, maintaining his composure even in the face of such a monumental breach, meets John in Central Park. The rustling leaves and distant city sounds are a stark contrast to the gravity of their conversati. With a chilling calm, Winston declares John Wick excommunicado. This isn't just being grounded. This means he's cut off from all continental services, stripped of its protection, and a global bounty has been placed on his head, making him the most wanted man in the underworld. The soft thud of Winston's cane against the path emphasizes the finality of his words. Winston, perhaps out of a lingering respect for John, grants him a 1-hour head start before the bounty goes live and his membership is officially revoked. The click of Winston's watch as he starts the timer is a dramatic countdown to impending doom. It's a generous gesture, relatively speaking, but it's also a death sentence. The world suddenly becomes a hostile place, every shadow a potential killer, every face a possible threat. John, with his ever-present dog, understands the implications. The heavy sigh he emits is almost audible, a realization that his fight for retirement has now morphed into a fight for his very existence. He's no longer just an assassin. He's the ultimate target. The distant sirens of the city seem to wail a warning, and the silent, knowing gaze between John and Winston confirms the bleak future that awaits him. The unspoken pact between them is over, and the war has just begun. The clock is ticking. Winston's grace period is almost up, and John Wick, along with his faithful companion, prepares for the inevitable. The urgent pace of his steps, the rapid-fire taps on his phone as he makes last-minute arrangements, all convey the desperate race against time. He makes a series of frantic calls, warning allies, making contacts, understanding that his world has just expanded into a global battlefield. He's essentially playing a real-life, high-stakes version of Where's Waldo. But Waldo is trying to kill him, and everyone else is also Waldo. He then melts into the bustling crowds of New York City. A ghost among millions, but a ghost with a multi-million-dollar price tag on his head. The cacophony of city sounds, the honking of taxis, the chatter of pedestrians, the sirens in the distance, now hold a sinister undertone. Every passing face is a potential threat, every quick glance a possible recognition. The tight grip he has on his dog's leash is a symbol of his last remaining connection. The realization that every single person, from the street vendor to the businessman, could be an assassin or an informant is chilling. The movie ends with John Wick running, a solitary figure against the vast, unforgiving urban landscape, knowing that the fight has only just begun. The final shot of him and his dog disappearing into the crowd leaves us with a profound sense of anticipation, dread, and a morbid excitement for what's next. It's a cliffhanger that truly makes your heart pound, wondering how one man could possibly survive such overwhelming odds. And there you have it, folks. John Wick Chapter 2 leaves us on a truly monumental cliffhanger, a testament to its incredible world building and narrative daring. John, a man who just wanted to bury his past and spend his days in quiet contemplation with his dog, is now arguably the most wanted man on the planet. His decision to break the sacred rule of the Continental wasn't just an act of vengeance. It was a desperate scream against a system that refused to let him go. It highlights how our past choices, even those made with the best intentions, can sometimes create an unstoppable ripple effect, shaping a future we never wanted. John's journey is a powerful reminder of the relentless pursuit of consequences and how sometimes the only way forward is to fight against insurmountable odds. It's a story of resilience, defiance, and finding a new purpose, even if that purpose involves a lot of headshots and very expensive suits. What an incredible ride! Until next time, stay safe, and maybe don't owe any blood oaths to shadowy international organizations. Trust me on this one.